Yo, thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. It's another day. It's 10:01 a.m. Pacific time. It's March 14th, 2026. It's Saturday. Hope you're having a good day. Let's begin. I've lived in San Francisco and Austin, and I want to move back to California. Here's what Texas is missing. Pavi Theva moved to Austin in 2023, drawn by the city's good weather and lower living costs. But now she wants to move back to San Francisco, where she lived years earlier. Theva said, California is the place to be if you want to grow and be challenged. The first time I visited San Francisco, I fell in love with it. A year later, around June 2018, I went back for a work trip. From the Golden Gate Bridge to the coastal views, the city was stunning, and the hustle and bustle in the air made me feel like I'd never get bored there. I started planning how I could work there one day. In October 2018, I left Dallas, where I was working at EY, to start an analytics role at a startup in San Francisco. Since then, life has taken me to Seattle and Austin, where I've been since August 2023. I found Seattle underwhelming but enjoyed the slower pace in Austin. Lately, I've been missing the ambitious entrepreneurial spark you can only find in the Bay Area. And over 5 years after first moving away, I want to go back. San Francisco was the complete package. When I moved to San Francisco, my rent rose drastically compared to $600 for a room in Dallas. I also noticed how the most common words I heard around San Francisco were the tech buzzwords API and cloud. Cloud, whereas no one in Dallas really spoke about work after work. The pressure to stay on top of the latest technology and add to the conversations at networking events meant I struggled with imposter syndrome. But San Francisco felt like the complete package. It had nature, nightlife, a range of cuisines, and a strong focus on career growth. There was also a large immigrant population, and it felt like everyone was from somewhere else, such as the Middle East or Asia. Growing up in India, I knew about the American dream and how diverse the US was. But San Francisco was the first place I felt like I was in the America I've heard about. In Austin, I could know someone for weeks and not know their profession. I didn't want to leave California, but when I was offered a program manager role at Amazon in Seattle in 2019, I took it because the role aligned with my career goals, including working at a FAANG company. My boyfriend and I her boyfriend shared an apartment that cost $1,990 a month, $1,990 a month, excluding utilities, which was cheaper than what I remembered paying in San Francisco. But I found Seattle underwhelming and struggled with the gloomy weather and it getting dark by 4 o'clock. It's hard to make friends in bad weather when people don't go out so much, and the 2020 pandemic made socializing even harder. In 2022, after I kept bugging my partner, who I met in San Francisco, to leave Seattle with me, we bought a property in Austin and moved in 2023. Drawn to the lower cost of living and good weather, we found a lot of young couples and a strong sense of community in Austin. It was easy to meet people because many residents, had also moved from other cities. For the first time, my environment wasn't all about tech. I met small business owners who didn't run startups like people in the Indian community with jewelry and sari business. There was a lot of creative energy. In the Bay Area and Seattle, the first or second question you asked in a conversation was, "What do you do?" But in Austin, I could know people for weeks without finding out their profession. People would talk about their hobbies and other aspects of life, which was a big culture shock. I started a side hustle creating social media content about career betterment, which was the beginning of many coaching businesses. Austin felt like a good place for me to create and grow the business. Compared to the Bay Area, where there's so much competition, it was easier to become visible in Austin. I felt like a big fish in a small pond. Austin and Austin is definitely in its acceleration phase, but I don't think it's the next Silicon Valley, like some are saying. Some costs, like entertainment and food, feel comparable to Silicon Valley, but overall, Austin seems cheaper than San Francisco or Seattle did. Like Seattle, there's no state income tax in Austin, so I'm saving more for my paycheck than I was in Silicon Valley. But as homeowners in Austin, we do have to pay quite high property taxes. Austin's missing a certain spark, and I want to go back to California. To me, the Bay Area, where there's deep engineering culture, is still the hub for entrepreneurship. Yes, companies like Tesla, Oracle, Apple, and Amazon have moved into or expanded into Austin, but I still don't see as many people talking about technology or as many tech conferences as in Silicon Valley. It doesn't feel like the city is ahead of the curve. In November 2025, I went to a creator meetup in the Bay Area where I had lots of insightful conversations about business. I realized this was something I was missing out on, and it's made me want to move back to San Francisco. Ideally, by 2027, I plan to continue career coaching, expand into corporate consulting, and take advantage of the opportunities in San Francisco. I picked Austin because I was in a season of life when I wanted to slow down, but now, with my business in a more mature phase, I want to be surrounded by ambitious, driven people again to keep me accountable and inspired. If you really want to grow, be challenged, and push yourself to be the smartest, that's the energy of California. Nothing can beat it. Yo, thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Again, smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel, comment down below, let me know what you think. Follow me on Instagram, Studio11. Follow me on X, the Studio 2020. I like to say Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Thank you for joining. And of course, I'll see you on the next one.